I had a dream, and that dream is probably similar to yours. It's, you know, the statistic. It's mum, it's dad, 2.4 children, a cat, a dog, a beautiful home, and a white picket fence. You know the statistic. I'm not sure how I saw that 0.4 of a child, but that child was there. And then, 23 years ago, my son Thomas was lying there fighting for his life. He was only 9.5 months old, and he had contracted pneumococcal meningitis. This has left him with numerous lifelong challenges. He's profoundly deaf. He's hemiplegic. He's got epilepsy. He's globally delayed. And he has an inability to communicate, or so I thought. In that moment, or in those weeks and months where Thomas was fighting for his life, so much was going on in my mind. What about my dreams for my baby? Just like you, I had the dreams of him graduating from university, being a success in the business world, just like his father and I. I had dreams of him being independent, being a global citizen. How was he going to be able to do that? And what about me? How was I going to have a career? How was I going to make that happen? How was I going to find joy again in life? Have you ever lost a dream? Maybe it's not the same dream, but maybe you have lost a dream. So who am I? I'm Nicola Irvine. How did I get to be here speaking to you guys? Well, my husband and I were in America. My husband was serving with the US Navy. He's part of the Royal Air Force. And we were there for 4 years. We just left recently in February of this year. And that's how I got to know about the Family Cafe. And this is why I'm here today, to share one of my stories about how you can triumph despite all those lost dreams. Now, you may notice I've got this funny accent. Some of you may realize what it is. I'm a Kiwi, I'm a New Zealander, and just like any other bird, but not a Kiwi bird, we actually love to travel, and we're adventurous souls. So you can normally find a Kiwi just about in any part of the world, despite them being a flightless bird. So there I was, my mind going round and round and round about all these dreams that I'd lost, about my boy, about my life, and how was that going to be? I was in this place where I was, like I said, spiraling. And in some ways I was numb. I was numbing out the pain. I was feeling hopeless, shameful and guilty, and just so many different emotions, as you may imagine. To today, where I can stand before you and say that I am the most joyous, most full of life than I've ever been. So how do you do that? How do you go from this place of being hopeless, helpless, numbed out, and lost to a place where you're feeling the most joyous, most triumph, and you're learning to live again? Well, I'm going to take you on a little journey. What I realized I had done is I had stuffed away all those emotions, all the pain, all that hopelessness, all the shame, all the guilt, all the rage and the fear about that incident, about Thomas and his meningitis, and the fact that he may have gone. He may have passed away. And I, through my self-discovery, found that I actually needed. I really needed to feel my emotions. So how do you do that? Well, what I realized is that I had been storing them. And for me, I store things in my emotions. I can feel the burden and the weight. Maybe you can feel that weight on your shoulders. And what I like to call it now is my emotional backpack, because I could feel the weight of it. Now, I actually got my backpack here with me. And this is it. This is my emotional backpack. And you can see there's things in it. And yes, there were many emotions in my backpack. So let's explore what was in my emotional backpack. And maybe it's a similar thing for you. So in my backpack, there was fear. There was so much fear about life, about what was going to happen to my son. Not right here in this present moment, but also in the future. How is he going to graduate? How is he going to be a global citizen? How is he going to make his impact? How is he going to live? How is he going to communicate? All of those questions. So there was fear. Terror. Rage. And yes, more fear. And actually joy. There was joy that I wasn't feeling. Despair. Ecstasy. Yeah, it's not the drug. It's actually ecstasy about life. Passion. I was suppressing my passion as much as I was suppressing what you perceive the negative emotions. I was also suppressing the joyful passion like emotions. And most of all, what I was suppressing was peace. So as you can see, I was creating a brick wall around me and my heart. And as you know, often we have what we call spiritual wake-ups. We may get a little nudge from the universe. We may get a little tap or a tap on the shoulder. And then if we don't listen, then we get a bigger knock. Something we might trip over or something. And then you get the big whammy. And that was my brick wall. This was a time for me to start to feel my emotions. What emotions are you numbing out? Or what emotions are you suppressing? It may not actually be emotions. It may be you're surrounding yourself with people that don't support you. You may be not eating well, or whatever it might be. It's something that you're suppressing. Now, I've always been a positive person in my life. I'm the half full. Yeah, I see the half full glass. I see it like that. But I realized that seeing life half full, I wasn't actually really living a full life because I wasn't actually fully expressing myself. I was shut down. I wonder if you can relate to that. So as I felt my fear, my rage, my passion, my joy, I found my peace. And in that, I started to ask myself. And maybe it's myself because it's the little devil and the little angel on my shoulders. But I started to ask myself, different questions about what life meant to me and what joy and what dreams I had, because I had lost them. I had lost my dreams that I thought I had. So I questioned myself about what really, I just had a moment there where I thought I wasn't recording. Anyway, excuse me for that. I really had to question what life really meant to me. And what I came up with was three really core beliefs. And I call them the 3 E's. And this is really the foundation for me. And maybe you will come up with your own E's, B's, C's, whatever they may be. But for me, the 3 E's bring ease to my life, peace to my life, is that every road, there's an opportunity. Every road, every choice is an opportunity. And in every moment, you have a choice whether you react in fear or respond in love and hope. Just think about that road rage situation. You have a choice in that moment whether you honk the horn and get really angry, to act in fear and anger. Or you could say, let's just let that person in. I don't know what's happening in their day. To react in love and respond in love. And the third and final one is that everyone, and I mean everyone, has a gift. And really this is the crux of my talk today, is that even though in that moment where Thomas had a meningitis, I felt one of my dreams was lost. And indeed I felt all hope for my son was lost. I realized that everyone, and I mean everyone, has a gift. And so that actually has been the core driver for me to find and assist Thomas to find his gift. So where do you go from there? Well, what I needed to do was I needed to, like I said, feel my emotions. But then also I needed to look at my life in a very holistic way. And what I mean by holistic, I mean to look at myself in a physical way. So look at my physical health and well-being, to look at myself emotionally and how I was faring in health and well-being, mentally, my mental health and well-being, socially, how was I faring socially and my health and well-being. And then for me, probably the most important, which brings them all together, is spiritually. How are you spiritually in your health and well-being? And I call this a life audit because I actually sat down and assessed my life. Now I've given you some questionnaires and they'll be attached, or what you need is your journal. You know, you can write things down in your journal, but please have a look at the questions that I've got there. They are just times, it's just to prompt you for self-reflection. It's not to judge yourself, it's just to be honest with yourself, to say, okay, I do want to make a change to move towards my wildest dreams. That's how you make steps towards triumphing, and not just adapting, but triumphing, living life to its fullest, being fully in life and having all of life experiences. Because yes, life is life and challenges come your way. It's how we choose to respond to them. So as you look at those questions, ask yourself those questions. Just be gentle on yourself. Acknowledge that you're taking the time to actually sit down and say, okay, where am I now? Where am I today? How am I emotionally, physically, mentally, socially, spiritually? And it doesn't matter how you define them. That's up to you. But for me, physically, obviously, is about my physical well-being, my exercise, my food intake. Do I need supplements? How am I supporting myself, whether it be with something like massage or reflexology or a plant-based diet or an Atkins diet, whatever is going to support you. Yoga. Mentally, what are you doing to support yourself mentally? Are you looking at different authors, or reading different books, or watching documentaries, or whatever mentally your mental well-being means to you? Socially, well, what are you doing? Do you have a tribe around you? How supportive are your family? Do you need to go and look for a new tribe? As part of my journey, I found a tribe for my creative side, my writing. I found a tribe for my spirituality. And then I've got a friends tribe and a family tribe. So what tribe actually, well, number of tribes support you in your social interaction emotionally? And that was a big thing for me because, like I said, I had that brick wall that wasn't allowing me to feel my emotions. So I went on a huge discovery internally to feel my emotions. Not only to feel my emotions, but then to get to a place where I could forgive not only myself, but others who I perceived had wronged me. So it's here from a place of forgiveness that my life has become so full. And lastly is spiritually. For me, that is yoga, that is being in nature, that is meditation and prayer and gratitude. And it's being with like-spirited people. That's how I started to look at my life and where I was and where I wanted to be. And the step between those two, from where you are to where you want to be, to where you really want to be, the deepest, most heartfelt, wildest dreams, where you want to be there, there's that one step that you need to take. Now, whether that one step is taking a walk for 5 minutes each day, or whether it's stretching for 5 minutes each day, or whether it's journaling for 5 minutes a day, what step is it for you? Or is it to reach out to someone by email, or to make that phone call that you've always wanted to make but you haven't? Whatever that is, note that down and take that step. Just that small step. I would suggest that you probably need to do it in those 5 areas, one step at a time. And that's it. Take those steps. So, my dreams. As I mentioned, I had all these dreams. And then I changed my dreams to these wildest dreams. And it's only when I reflected that I realized that even though I thought all those years ago that my dreams were shattered and lost and gone for good, when I dreamed my wildest dreams, I realized on reflection, my dreams have come even better than my wildest dreams. And it's been a ride. It's been a roller coaster. It's been a time of much self-reflection and a real hike. So I want to share with you some specific dreams that I had and where I am now. So I dreamed that Thomas would graduate. Now, I just assumed graduating would be with from university. I had no other concept. That was not part of my experience. It was about going to university, or whether it be a trade or some sort of qualification that he would fulfill his dreams and be a successor. Little did I know that through what I've just explained to you very quickly, through a life audit, through looking at myself, things would become obvious for Thomas. And what he has now is he has an internet business. He's 23 years old, but he started at 21, and he's serving clients throughout the world with his card readings. Now, I'll tell you more about that later, but that is beyond my wildest dreams. Him having his own business at the age of 21. I had a dream that Thomas would be independent, just like any other child. But when he got meningitis, it's like, oh no, he's going to be with me forever. And there was such a weight with that. Because the me and me, the ego within me thought, what about me? And I'll get to that later. But how is Thomas going to be independent? And you know what? Thomas showed the way for me. Now, it wasn't the traditional way. And maybe it was. It was a teenager. And he made it loud and clear that he didn't want to live with me anymore. And so I sought for options for him. And I could see that there were three options. There were that he could stay with me and we could suffer in silence. Or I could ask for help. And then the third was actually a combination of the two, to really see what was going to work with him and be guided by him. And the third option was where we chose for him to gradually move into residential care. Now, what that meant was initially he would spend 3 nights away from me a week. And you know what? It was so hard for me, but Thomas seemed to be thriving. And it was hard to comprehend, but it was actually, there was a sense of relief for him and for me. And then it became obvious that he wanted something more permanent. And so eventually we found the way for him at that time. And that was to go into residential care with 3 other young men. And that's where he is today. He's with 3 other young men. They're living in a house with full-time care. And he's learning to do some things by himself. He's seeing me when we have a schedule and we see each other and we love the time together. And then he's ready to go back to his flatmates and his support team. And now also he's made it blatantly obvious in so many different ways that he is now ready to make the next move. So as we speak, I'm about to put an offer on a home for Thomas. And he is going to be living, yes, with support, 24/7 support in his own home. This is in the very near future. And once he's stabilized and feels like he's home and just a sense of belonging there, I believe he'll want some flatmates around. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be someone else with a challenge, or it's going to be someone who he just meets and he wants to share, and they want to share the house together. I'm not sure, but Thomas is finding independence, and it's just beautiful how he's doing that. As I mentioned, had a dream that he was going to be a global citizen. How is someone with all these challenges going to be able to have a global impact? Well, as you've heard me say before, he's got an internet business and he has clients over the world. And so indeed, he is making it as a global citizen. He is having an impact on these people's lives in the US and Australia and here in New Zealand. It just warms my heart, and I just hope and pray that he continues to make that impact. I dreamed that I would have a typical family. You remember that typical family, that mum, the dad, the 2.4 children? Well, I have now stepped into a family, and there are now my husband, myself, and 4 children. So you know what? I have got to a place beyond my wildest dreams. The 2.4 children, I've now got 4. So I've actually gone beyond my wildest dreams. And there's so much joy that comes with it. Yeah, it's hard work as well. It is hard work. Love them to bits, and they also challenge me. Challenge me to be the better me, which I'm truly, truly, truly grateful for. I had a dream that Thomas would be able to communicate. Well, initially I thought it was about hearing. I want him to hear just like his father and I. And he made it clear that he didn't want to communicate in the most traditional ways. He even got a cochlear implant, and now he's choosing not to wear it as often as I would like him to wear, because I still believe he would pick up language, but he's choosing not to wear it as much as I would like him to wear it. But he's found a different way to communicate. And this came about through a friend, and she's had a huge impact on both Thomas's and my life. And it was thinking beyond the box. Now, what I call the box is the box of our mind, how we can be so contained within our thoughts. What we needed to do is look beyond, because Thomas wasn't going to keep on his cochlear implant. He wasn't going to learn sign language because of his hemiplegia. He wasn't going to learn auditory because all the auditory verbal therapy just didn't support him. It supported him to a level, and then he didn't want to go any further. The iPad, the PECs, he excelled for a while, and then he plateaued. So what was obvious is that he was going to find his own way, and indeed he has. And I'm going to share a video with you about that. And so just bear with me as I share my screen.
So really right at the beginning, he really refused to go with any traditional type of support with communication. We tried so many different things, communication boards, PECs, the iPad, not really interested in. I've always felt there's a lot within him that he can't express. Because Thomas really likes photographs of people, really things that are meaningful, he started putting photos and cards together. The idea started probably 5 or 6 years ago with a friend of mine. When he did what I would call a reading, for me, it was so meaningful. And this feels like a way of expressing. One way to really describe it is authentic communication. It's not about talking about the weather, it's actually about connecting with self. And so I think it's a really important gift.
The cards kind of give us like an opportunity to say, hey, well, do you want to explain to us what's happening? So we'll give him the photo of himself and he can put that up on the wall. and say, hey, what's going on, and lay out the cards, and he can choose. And it just gives him another way of sort of intuitively or authentically kind of communicating. He did a reading for Karina, one of the other carers, and it said she was thinking about a job change, not working with Thomas, but another job that she does. And Thomas chose a card like, don't worry, like a new career is coming just around the corner, and sure enough, it was. So, yeah, there's a lot of valuable sort of messages that he conveys.
I feel that this is one of his gifts of being here, so I think it's an opportunity for us to share it.
So Thomas wasn't supposed to walk or talk. We were told we should get on with our next child. And here he is, delighting the world with his gift. The gift, I believe, where he can actually connect you with your heart. He connects with your heart through your photo, and he sends you a message that's only for you, and you can interpret it. And we support him in this business idea. So you too, your loved one has a gift in there. The important thing is for you to start looking after yourself first, you getting clear on what you want, and so you too then can help your loved one. So let's just take a moment. This is part of my daily practice, is to take a moment and breathe in and out. And so let's just do this together in this moment. So just go ahead and get into a nice comfortable position, your bottom on the chair, your back straight in the back of the chair, and then gently close your eyes. So I'd like you just to take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. You may want to make your exhalation slightly longer than your inhalation. So breathing in through your nose, a slight pause, and out through your mouth. What I often do is I breathe into 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A slight pause at the top, and out to 6. Maybe just do one more. And just notice how relaxed you are feeling. And at this moment, I'd just like you to imagine that your feet are on the ground and your feet have roots, just like trees. Or maybe they're like a river and they have a stream going from them. But however, or maybe there's beams of light or whatever you see. But for me, to feel grounded, I like to feel that my feet have roots. So just imagine your feet having roots and growing and going right to the center of the earth. I do this to feel grounded, and just imagine that all that energy from the center of the earth is coming up through those roots to your feet and into your legs and your body. And just breathing in and out. And you might want just also to imagine that above you is this endless source of energy. And just imagine that energy is coming down through your head, down through your throat and your heart, It's just connecting with that earth energy. What I find when I allow myself to be connected, both with the earth and both with the heavens and the skies above, that I feel very grounded and connected to all that is. And from this place, I can imagine my wildest dreams. I can imagine how I can adapt and actually triumph, how I can actually live my fullest life, and how that actually even looks like, what it even looks like. So just allow yourself a few moments to imagine what that might look like. Now, if you need more time, you might want to pause this video. But for the sake, I will just continue. So from the space where you feel both connected to the earth and the everything above, this is where I start to dream, and I start to be creative and what is possible. And this is where I believe my friend connected with Thomas's potential, and how she followed his lead to actually come up with the idea of working with photos and oracle cards. So it's in this space that we can ask ourselves questions like what are my current dreams? So just be honest, what are they right here, right now? And if I was to dream my wildest dreams, how full life would be, living life again, feeling the most joyous that you could ever imagine. How would those dreams be? What would they look like? Now, between each of these questions, you may want to pause the video as well so you can reflect. But just for the sake of moving on, I will just keep asking these questions. And what fulfills you the most? The wildest dreams or the current dreams? Up to you. For me, it's always been the wildest dreams, because they make me feel alive and passionate and motivated and just wanting to be in life, fully experiencing life. That's what I've done. I've asked myself these questions. And then, what small step do I need to take to move from where I am now to my wildest dreams? And this is what I do daily. I'm not perfect at all. I'm still a work in process. So some days it doesn't happen, and I have days where life challenges, life's daily dharma comes into play, and I don't do that. And yet when I come back to that place where I've grounded myself, I've had a few deep breaths in and out and connected to the all that is, I am amazed how I can take that one next step towards my full, most joyous life that I could ever imagine. So I ask you, what does your full, most wildest dreams, a life of triumph, what does that look like to you? Just take a moment to really, really feel and see or sense or hear what that is to you. What is that to you? Maybe you write it down. Because for each of us, it's different. For me, part of my wildest dreams was to be able to actually do something like this. 3 years ago, I couldn't have done this video because I had such an incredible terror of speaking in public. There was no way I wanted to do it. But when I connected to my most wildest dreams, I realized that I wanted to share Thomas's and my story. So the only way I could do it was actually by speaking, by sharing the story, one person at a time, or through this type of opportunity where here I am in New Zealand and you are in Orlando or in America, so that you can hopefully get that spark of hope, that spark of faith that all is possible. When things may be feeling that you're lost or helpless, or there's no hope, there is that thread. There is that thread. There is that light. There is always that light at the end of the tunnel. Every road has opportunities. Everyone has a gift. And in every moment, you have a choice, whether to live in fear or love. How are you going to choose to triumph? Are you going to choose to triumph for you, for your family, for your world? By you dreaming your wildest dreams and taking a step towards them, you are triumphing, and those ripples will ripple out.